South Africa has been complaining that the deputy president has been playing the humble public servant while apparently living like royalty. Declaring a 3 million a year job, yet suddenly rolling out 65 million rands in luxury properties. How is that possible? Mashatile initially denied owning any property in Cape Town, but backtracked and said his son-in-law owns the property and he visits from time to time. Either way, South Africa is suspicious because his salary does not match his lifestyle. I mean, in a country led by a black government that was meant to give justice to the previously disadvantaged black people, this government seems to be taking more than it is giving.
I just want to ask you some very quick accountability questions on this.
Yeah.
And I must acknowledge that it's great that you avail yourself for interviews. I think you've done 2 in the last week.
Yeah.
You're ready to answer questions, and you're not hiding from the media either. This waterfall property, you do confirm that from time to time, at least, you do sometimes reside there.
Yeah.
And do you dispute the number of 38 million of the valuation of the property?
No, in fact, they got it from me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are the interests Mashatile registered last year. They include a residential property in Midrand, a smaller second property in Sandton in Johannesburg. Now, just a year later, those interests have changed quite drastically.
Let's stop right there. Let me ask you this. Why is black wealth always a scandal, but white wealth is just normal? Why is that? Because when a black man buys a house, it's corruption. When a white man buys 10 farms, a mine, and a mansion in Constantina, it's called hard work. No question asks. Nobody digs into their family history. Nobody asks where the money comes from. But let me remind you where it came from. Colonization, apartheid, blood money. White wealth in this country is built off the backs of underpaid black labor, stolen land, and stolen minerals. The Ruperts, the Oppenheimers, the Steins, these families are celebrated as business icons, while their entire fortunes were made from a system designed to starve and exploit black people. Now, is the ANC corrupt? Absolutely. But let's not act brand new. We kept voting for them. We allowed this corruption to rot our government from the inside out for 30 years. We must take some responsibility for enabling that. Because we, as citizens, we chose the devil we knew, and now we are choking on it. But let's also not pretend that white corruption does not exist. White corruption was the foundation of this country, and yet when we speak about corruption, the conversation always swings back to black leaders, black elites, black faces. Why? Because the world cannot stomach the sight of a wealthy black man. That is why. The image of a black man with power, with land, with money shakes the very foundation of white supremacy. Mashatile's house is being dragged because it reminds them that black people were never meant to be seen in those spaces. That's why there is an outrage. Not just because of corruption, but because it disrupts the lie of white superiority. The other time, black South Africans were complaining about the EFF and who funds them. People claim that the EFF swindled over 1.6 million rand from a now closed VBS bank, which had elderly people's pension funds, meaning all the pension funds were lost due to corruption of VBS. Now, it was alleged that the EFF was involved in this corruption and it aided in into the collapse of this VBS bank. Yet they failed to confront Johann Rupert, Nicky Oppenheimer, and Dow Steyn about stealing the country's wealth and keeping it for themselves. You guys failed to confront them about stealing the trajectory of your lives, but you have the nerve to cry about Malema and Mashatile. White people changed the trajectory of our lives forever. Who knows? Without them, maybe we could have been living in luxury. Like, I also hate the fact that white people have given themselves credit that they gave Africans civilization. They bought civilization. They are the one that transformed Africa. Without Africa, black people would cease to exist. But we existed long before white people set foot in the Cape Bay in 1652. So, family, listen. Yes, we must hold our leaders accountable. Yes, corruption in the ANC is destroying us. But at the same time, don't let them brainwash you into thinking only black leaders are corrupt. That's a distraction, because while you are dragging Mashatile's house, the Oppenheimers are still sitting on stolen diamond mines. The Ruperts are still profiting off stolen land. And white South Africans are still living off a generational wealth that was funded by apartheid's brutality. I mean, in South Africa, pocket watching is racialized. That is when a black person displays, or more commonly revealed to have wealth, whether it's a nice car, a house in the suburbs, or even just dressing well. There's an unspoken demand for explanation. People automatically ask, where did they get the money? Who are they connected to? And assume corruption, crime, or political bamboozle. But when a white person has wealth, no one asked. It's assumed to be normal, even expected. This color of wealth is legitimate, even if it's inherited from apartheid era privileges or built on historical advantage. In short, black wealth is seen as suspicious and must explain, while white wealth is accepted as natural and never has to prove itself. This is white supremacy on autopilot long after formal colonization has ended. As they say, the most potent mind of the oppressed is in the hand of the oppressor, or whatever Steve Biko said. So, am I on Paul Mashatile's side? No. Do I think Paul Mashatile is corrupt forever? He's the most corrupt, violent human being to ever grace South Africa. Does he belong in the government? No. Does he belong? Does he deserve to be the deputy president of South Africa? No. Does he deserve to be representing black people? No. He's a thief. He steals from his own to enrich himself. I'm not gonna let you, act like his wealth can't be attributed to, hard work. He might have been hardworking. Paul Mashatile is more than just a deputy president. He works. He works behind the scenes. He has businesses, whether legit or illegit. He works. Legal or illegal, he works. Why should we persecute Paul Mashatile for living large, for living in luxury, for living well? Why must we persecute him? Why must we do that? And then we leave Oppenheimer, Nikki Oppenheimer, Rupert, Johann Rupert, and Doustein. We leave them. We leave them be because we see their wealth as legitimate. But our own aren't allowed to be wealthy. I am sorry. Whether he got it through corruption or not, I'm not gonna let black South Africans act dizzy and start questioning black people for their wealth. What do you think about this segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss these groundbreaking conversations right here on the African Diaspora News channel. And oh, family, I have my very own YouTube channel where I dissect the stories or events that affect the diaspora. I also highlight and showcase my cultural background here in Limpopo province, Sepedi. I showcase the Limpopo culture. I showcase the Limpopo landscape. And I would love for you to join me one day to travel Limpopo and explore it, because you do belong in Africa. So do subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called The